I'd like to call this regular meeting of council to order at 7 p.m. on June the 20th, 2023. We'll stay seated for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you very much. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. And we'll move to the mayor's address. On behalf of council and myself, I want to congratulate Lloyd Griffith on the successful completion of Unit 2 of the Municipal Administration Program, and Don Andrews on the successful completion of Unit 1 of the same program. Excellent work. The notices for the Public Information Center have been distributed to residents on Lake Dory Road, Highway 60 in the Village of Golden Lake. Staff from MTO and Dillon Consulting will be available to discuss this study and answer questions in regards to the preliminary design and environmental assessment for improvements to the intersection of Highway 60 and Lake Dory Coconuts Road. Public Information Center will be held June 21st, 2023 at the Golden Lake Community Hall from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. On Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, I attended the presentation of the Emergency Department Expansion Project and doctor recruitment challenges at the St. Francis Memorial Hospital in Barry's Bay. This project, which has been in the planning since 2016, has received final approval and funding from the Ministry of Health. The expansion will provide much needed space for triage, examination, and treatment of patients, improved privacy, and a more efficient workflow for staff. Recent article in the Leader regarding the future of Snowdrifters Club and the Trail Network in Renfrew County emphasizes the critical shortage of volunteers that many organizations are facing. It's a shocking reality that a club that once had almost 200 members and now consists of 3. This comes at a time when the Trail Network in Renfrew County has grown over the years and is now a major attraction for ATVs as well as snowmobiles. It would be unfortunate to see a key section of the network disconnected from the county trails, resulting in economic repercussions for local businesses. The recent rainfall and cooler temperatures have been a welcome relief to dry conditions and forest fires that have affected so many residents across the country. In spite of the recent rainfall, fire bans are still in effect as fire ratings remain at extreme. And in conclusion, I want to apologize to a staff member for texting them on their weekend off. This could have been avoided by utilizing our service tracker software program. And that is my mayor's address. We're going to move in a seconder to accept the mayor's address. It's been moved by Councillor Byrne, seconded by Councillor Schultz.
Just one comment, Renfrew County ATV Club, they have over 1,800 members.
Actually, 1,880 to be exact.
Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of people with ATVs.
Yeah, it really has grown. So call the vote. Councillor Byrne?
Yes.
Councillor Buckle?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Schultz?
Yes.
Yes. Harry, thank you. Are there any declarations with pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, then we'll move to item 5, which is the adoption of the minutes. I have a motion that the June 6, 2023 regular council minutes be accepted as presented. And I got to move it to second, moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Buckle. Are there any additions, corrections, or omissions? Seeing none, Councillor Byrne?
Yes.
Councillor Buckle?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Schultz?
Yes.
Yes, that is carried. Thank you. And moving on to reports, item 7.1 is a comprehensive zoning bylaw report. And I have a motion the council accepts the comprehensive zoning bylaw report is presented. And further that staff inform the County of Brantford Planning Department that the township will not be completing the comprehensive zoning bylaw update in 2023. And I'm gonna move in a second, moved by Councillor Bucknell, seconded by Councillor Burge. Comments, questions? Councillor Reichel-Schonfeld?
So what will happen to that money then we budgeted for?
Yes.
Mayor, so the money will be required in 2024 when we complete the remainder of, when we complete the update of the comprehensive zoning bylaw.
Okay, so we'll just move the money. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, call the roll. Councillor Burge?
Yes.
Councillor Bucknell?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reichel-Schonfeld?
Yes,
And a yes. Very good. And item 7.2 is the Jessup Road and Fog Seal report, and I have a motion that council accepts the Jessup Road Fog Seal report as information, and that fog seal will not be applied to Jessup Road, and the funds be used to pulverize Rudler Road. And I'm gonna move in a second, moved by Councillor Bucknell, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Comments or questions? Councillor Bucknell?
I took the opportunity to drive Rooster Road on Monday. And I saw where the road staff have put down a lot of fresh gravel on the gravel section. And it was gravel road was smoother than that surface treatment was gonna be, so I think this is the right choice to make.
And I would agree, and I know from conversation that I overheard with staff that they're gonna wait until they pulverize the remainder of that road before they put the dust control down, which makes sense. Councilor
And
Burke?
the public works out there today, we're up to putting more patches on that part of the road to just so people. Like it's really bad.
Yeah, it is. Councilor Reichel-Schonfeld?
I still would have liked to see the fog seal go down, because I do think it will increase the lifespan of the road.
And I did have that conversation as well with Lee Perkins, the Director of Public Works for the county, and said, does it extend the life? He says you may get another year or two, but he said it wouldn't give you much more beyond that. Councilor Buck?
Some of the research that I've done on the fog sealing is it's actually something better maybe to apply after a year or two. That it's been down as the material starts to harden. The fog seal can actually give it back some elasticity so that it doesn't crack as badly. So that may be something we look at down the road is maybe fog sealing the road like that a year or two later and maintenance. As opposed to doing it when we first put the material down.
Wouldn't be a bad idea, because yeah, maybe that extends the life of the road. Because it's a good maintenance application. That's all right.
So then we don't forget, could we give direction to staff that maybe next budgeting year, we budget that into our roads budget? It would be nice to use it just even as an experiment to see if it did.
It'd be great to do an experiment on one road.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that can be incorporated right into the asset management program, for any roads that we do have that are surface treated as opposed to paved. But we do different maintenance to see how it does.
Right. Well, we're doing Jessup Road this year. If we waited a year or two and then did an application there, we'd certainly know.
It's a shame we didn't have another road being done this year or next year that we could do the two at the same time. And see which, over 5 years they have the best outcome.
Yeah.
But sometimes we always talk about partnerships and stuff like that, perhaps there's a neighboring municipality. But you could talk to their mayor and see if they're doing one, and then you could do kind of a bit of a longitudinal study to see which one does deteriorate faster, if it's kind of similar.
Yeah, and sometimes that's hard to evaluate because it depends on the preparation of
That's right.
the base and where the road is and if it's in a swampy area.
Maybe Mr. Mayor, that's something to consider for our public works budget planning for next year.
Yeah,
Is if we have two roads that we can look at doing, do one with one without.
Sure. Yeah. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, Councillor Burt,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reggie Shanto,
Yes,
and a yes. Very, thank you. Other 7.3 is the RFP regarding the Beacon Park docks. I have a motion to council accepts the RFP PW 2023-04 Beacon Park docks report and direct staff to retender the project with the reduced scope. And again, moved in a second, moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Comments or questions? Councillor Richardson.
a couple questions. I'm just wondering how long the grant is good for. Is it good for a year or?
Yes, go ahead.
Through the mayor, so, the grant is good till the end of 2024.
Okay, and when I looked at, I'm assuming it was the person that did the RFP, this one here. It looks like a totally different system, right? They got floating blocks, I guess, or sinking blocks
That's the anchors.
to anchor, where the other system didn't have those, right?
So that's in their, that's their specifications, that's their anchors.
Right,
The, our company did require anchors.
okay. And also like, from my point of view, having the dock, like they were going to do one where it was 4 foot wide as opposed to 6 foot wide. Like, I think that's just very important to have it. So they're just gonna do a whole, will they keep the 6 foot wide parameter?
So our steps will remain the same as we originally had. We will just remove one section of the.
Right, okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Councillor Robinson?
And just, which section will we be removing?
It's on here,
That's what I'm
it's
just trying,
this one here,
which,
yeah, see here, they have 3 blocks,
so,
originally they had 4 blocks.
yes, I see the one. Okay.
We'll take it the middle.
You must work for the government.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Councillor Burt,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reggie Shanto,
Yes,
and a yes. That is carried, thank you. And at 7.4 is Wilkins Road, and I have a motion that council accepts this report and approves the extension of Wilkins Road as a maintained road. Could I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Comments, questions? Councillor Reggie Shanto.
I'm just trying to think from a point of view of the township, because it seems like it's costing us money. What benefits do we have for this, from this?
Yes, Michelle.
So, okay, so the benefits that municipality, will realize will be, so, there, so we would be able to extend the road, and this would allow us to create a turnaround. So any residents or visitors that want to use the Wilkins Trail in the winter, so that would increase our winter recreation. Also, the 7th application will allow for a new farm to be created. So we will realize tax revenue from that. That's the benefits we will realize.
And just to add to that, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if the grant that we had for Wilkins Trail, did we not have money to do a parking area at the beginning of the trail?
I believe we did have some grant money for signage and that type of item. I believe the parking lot was outside the scope of the grant.
But right now we have to go as far as Minot's farm.
We currently maintain to the driveway, yes.
And how do they do their turnaround there? They just have to pull it.
They turn in the driveway.
So there's a liability because we're actually taking our vehicles onto his driveway. So having an extension and a turnaround also removes that liability.
That's true. It's much safer to have a turn around than to turn in a resident's driveway.
That's right.
So I was trying to look at those maps that you provided as part of the report. Could we bring one up and maybe physically show us like where we are and what we're gonna like build? That's possible. Maybe one of the top of the GIS maps. Yeah. If somebody could show me.
Okay, so Wilkins Road is a forest road. And so currently. The forest road more or less means that we have the portion of the road that we maintain, that's where only, that's the width of the road.
Yeah.
So currently, we maintain this driveway here,
Okay,
okay? And Wilkins Trail begins here,
okay,
okay? The shirts, their proposed severance is to divide this property in half,
okay,
okay? Along the center line.
right,
Yeah.
Here's turnaround.
And so this is the Wilkins Trail where it
yeah,
starts, so your turnaround would be in this location here.
so then we plow from that driveway all the way down to there.
Yes.
And, cause it does seem to be like it is gonna be expensive to cut the trees and do all that stuff. But did we never budgeted for that, did we?
Not in the, not in the 2023 budget.
Councilor Burke, you got a question?
Do we have enough land to make a turnaround for trucks at the end of Wilkinson's Road?
I believe we do, because that's the section that the Mennonites transferred to the township. And I think they did that last year, correct? Or is that still in progress as well?
So this is related to this.
Okay,
So currently, we're treating that as a effective seasonal road then beyond that first driveway?
Yeah, yes.
yes, that's right.
Is it something that we have to do this year? Like because of the legal and the severances and all that other stuff?
The shirts haven't applied for the consent, haven't applied for it, because I haven't reached that at this point.
Right. So that means we could put it in our, I know, because we're really halfway through our year, we could put it for next year, right?
You could budget in 2024 for the project.
Councilor Rollins.
I guess what would be the impact of pushing it over? I mean, besides less, winter that period.
So. So. They would have more of an effect on the shirts and their consent application, rather than the township, so.
Could this be rolled into any of the grant activities that we have? Right now?
It's something we can, mention to your project coordinator, to see if there's any grant opportunities coming that would, this would be an eligible product.
Councilor Buckland.
The one question I have is looking at this, the scope of work that needs to be done. If the trees and such have to be taken down, and as I understand it here, that they're gonna be removed by the adjacent property owners, that we don't have to remove them. Would it be beneficial to at least remove the trees this year so that they would have the winter to deal with that? so that the project could be done next year. As opposed to tying it up and trying splitting the cost up between 2 years as opposed to all in the 1 year. I just wonder if there's a benefit to that.
That would be a benefit to that, yeah.
Because that would also then, if we get some of those trees out, because one of the concerns is opening it up so the sun can get in to keep things dried up.
Yeah.
If we can get that done this year, it might make it easier to get the rest of that work done earlier next year.
Yes.
And another benefit for the township would be, we require trees for the corridor road. And so if possible, the some of
That could be
these
used.
trees could be used for the corridor road, which we do need to do this winter.
That would work.
That would make sense, because I understand the concern about budgeting the entire amount,
Yeah.
as it's unbudgeted for this year. But again, if we can put that money in and get some return out of it as far as for corduroy, I think that makes sense.
Is the other end of Welcome Trail be finished this year, like where the wet spot is?
Well, that has to wait until, we can't start any work until after
Oh,
September 15th because of the endangered species and, so we have to wait, yeah. I'm not sure if we have to amend this resolution. Yeah. Yes,
We could amend it to say, with construction to begin in 2023 and be completed in 2024.
completed and incorporated into the 2024 budget. No, that's more than a friendly.
I know that.
Well, if I could make a suggestion, Mr. Mayor, maybe a shorter one is if we're doing the work, we're gonna accept it as a maintained road. So change that from a period to a comma. And add with the tree removal to be done this year. That I think would fall from the amendment.
I agree.
Okay. And how are you working on that? Perfect. So the motion that council accepts this report and approves the extension of Wilkins Road as a maintained road with the tree removal to be completed in 2023. And I had a mover and a seconder, Councilor Buckwell and Councilor Robinson. Are you okay with the amendments?
Yes.
Okay, so all the vote, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Rector,
Yes,
and yes, that's very thank you. And 7.5 is the Island View Drive resident concern regarding drainage. I have a motion to council accept the Island View Drive resident concern drainage report as information, and that council agrees to proceed with the drain outlet replacement on the residence property, provided that a legal easement is obtained from the property owner. And I got a mover in a second, moved by Councilor Burke, second by Councilor Robinson. Comments or questions? Councilor Rector.
so how does, okay, so the former road superintendent, thought that the current system would be okay, and he didn't recommend anything. How is this gonna improve it? And any idea how much this is gonna cost?
We did budget for it this year because I believe we had a resolution, which was included in the agenda from last year, that we would do the change on the outlets, but provided we could get a proper easement. The easement is big right now. It seems to be uncertain whether it is actually on the resident's property or whether it's encroaching on the neighbors.
when the one time when he spoke about asking that it be moved over,
Yeah,
I believe that would have put it onto the neighboring property. So I think it's going to require having some survey work done to determine the actual, at the very least, to determine the property lines.
yeah. Yes,
And that would be part of the use of that stuff. And we did budget $100,000 in the 2023 budget to do the survey work.
But not necessarily the drain itself.
The drain will be completed by public works staff.
And it shouldn't be that costly for a lot of that is just hand bombing it and shortening it.
The $10,000 should cover the complete work.
Okay.
any other questions? Seeing none, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Buckle,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Randy Schultz,
Yes,
and a yes, that is carried, thank you. Item 7.6 was the accessibility compliance. I have a motion that council approves the multi-year accessibility plan and policy as presented, and that the plan and policy be enacted by bylaw. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Blackwell, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Comments or questions? Councilor Rick Schultz.
I thought it was like very extensive and it definitely took a lot of work to do this and to make sure everything, I mean, because we do have so many other properties and you have to take so many things into consideration. But I think I spotted another spelling mistake. I don't know. Is that how you start Algona Wilberforce? In capital letters?
No, it's backwards. The E and the R are reversed.
Cause I just caught that now and I'm looking at it and I'm like, and you know, like when you look at something, it's like, sorry about that. I just looked at that now. Is it because I enjoyed reading it because it took a lot of work, like I said.
I'm not wanting to be a real troublemaker, but
Oh,
in the email for comments, there's 2 O's in Algona. I just noticed that now too.
Weird. It's weird how when you read something a bunch of times and then it's like, anyway.
And I was just like, I think, our deputy clerk, Ms. Griffith, she had prepared the plan policy, so she did put a lot of work.
Yeah, because it is a lot of work just to do those things. So kudos to you guys.
I think there is still, or there will be more accessibility compliance funding, grant money, I should say, coming available. I know there was something on, I think it was FCM where they had, referred to the fact that they were, if they haven't received it, they're lobbying to get more. Any other, comments? Seeing none, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Buckle,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Randy Schultz,
Yes,
and yes, that is carried, thank you. Item 7.7 is the service tracker renewal. I have a motion that council authorizes the clerk treasurer to enter into a 4-year contract with Catalyst Advanced Government Management Solutions for the Advanced Service Tracker platform. And I'm going to move in a second, moved by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Buckle. Comments or questions? Councilor Rankin.
just one, I'm just wondering, like, as the years go on, then the amount we pay increases. I just wonder why. Like, I mean, you know why?
I'm assuming it's maintenance of the program, updates as they go and maybe retraining.
So do they update, like, you get updates on,
Yeah,
yeah, like this last service tracker, sometimes they don't update.
the last one we haven't, but other programs we have.
Okay,
Councilor Buckle.
And just a question, so this project, this is following the same supplier, same workflow, that sort of thing, so
Yeah,
we're not restarting the wheel.
yeah, Catalyst actually bought on it,
Okay,
And they've upgraded a lot of their programs, and it will be a much simpler, faster, definitely faster, easier access.
Thank you.
And the thing that I found really interesting was, I think it was right near the end of the report where it talked about the ability to incorporate bylaw enforcement into, and I'm wondering, is that like a automated voicemail that they'd be able to handle some of those requests for or to address some of the calls for issues?
I'm not sure, we didn't get into that in the demonstration, we were more interested in the data service and the ease of use. But I'm sure that's.
That was right at the end. They said it could be incorporated with asset management and bylaw control, and I can't remember what the third one was. There was three different
Animal control.
animal control, right? Which kind of falls into the same category.
I'm sure municipalities that are much larger and need that more available. They'll probably use it more often.
I'm just thinking, as we move forward, because we did talk about it even here at the council, about having some sort of an automated message that if somebody calls after hours or weekends, that it can route that call, whether it's just a call that can be addressed the following week, or is it an emergency, an actual emergency? I don't know if it works that way or not.
I'm not sure on that, but we can touch a lot of that.
Is that something you could ask though, if there was like an emergency or priority or something like that, you know?
I should ask for more information about those secret.
Yeah, if you could bring that back to another meeting, that would be great. Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, Councilor Burke?
Yes.
Councilor Buckle?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilor Shanto?
Yes,
And yes, that is carried. Thank you. Item 9.1 is non-action items. I have a motion council accepts non-action communication items 9.1.1 to 9.1.4 as information. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Buckle, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Anything that anyone wants to speak to? Yes, Councilor Robinson.
that procurement provider, has anybody ever thought about that? Canoe?
Actually, I wanted to speak to that as well, so.
Okay, I'm just wondering, like, I mean, at school, they were trying to get like a provider for, let's say, equipment, so then. Like at school, if we ordered 30 basketballs, it'd be like this, but if all of Rankin County ordered 30 basketball, like 300, it would make much cheaper, is that kind of what is looking at?
Well, and it goes beyond that. It goes, they service municipalities all across Canada. So they have a huge buying power. And my understanding, our staff is already using Canoe, and we're already registered to use it for office supplies. But when you did the presentation at county, what I was really impressed with is that they can do it for graders, they can do it for all of our traffic signs, they can do it for tires, they can do it for things like graded blades. They have a whole list of they do fire trucks. And what's really unique about the way they do it is that you can use your local supplier. So if you have a John Deere dealer and you like to use John Deere equipment, you can go through Canoe, but they then handle the purchase through your local dealer. So your local dealer doesn't lose out, and you still get the benefit of the bigger buying group. And even for something like a fire truck, the fire department can put together all of their own specs, and then they go out and they save, it's really a staff time saver as well, because they do all of the document preparation, they do the tendering, they do the review. So it makes the workload for our own staff a lot less. And one of the examples, because one of the questions I asked them when they were doing their presentation is, how do you ensure you're getting competitive pricing when you go out for a tender, we know for fire trucks? And they said, yeah, here's our tender price, but it's gonna be 2 years for delivery, and it's gonna be 30% more when we deliver. So what they're doing is they're actually really negotiating, I'd like to call it maybe squeezing some of the suppliers to give more firm delivery dates. And what they have done in some municipalities, what they've seen is, when it comes to awarding a tender, they may award to somebody who has an initial higher cost, but in the long term, it's saving the municipality money, because they can deliver quicker than somebody who's coming in lower, but now they have a 30 or 40% surcharge by the time their equipment is delivered. So there certainly are some advantages. Yes, Councilor Redfish.
And so like, what is the cost or how do they make money? How does Canoe make money?
Are they nonprofit?
They're an arm of the AMO.
Yes.
They're a division of AMO, which is
Mhm.
the Association of Municipalities in Ontario, so.
I think they do pay their admin staff, like the people that work in the procurements,
Right?
and they probably take a percentage off of the transaction, but they're still realizing savings for municipality more than you could probably find if you go out on your own.
Right, okay. Thanks for that.
And they're always looking at other products that they can bring into their purchasing list, or their supplies that they provide. Any other questions, comments? Being none, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes,
Councilor Redfish.
Yes,
And yes, that's carried. Thank you. And that brings us to bylaws. So bylaw number 10 is, I have a motion now therefore, the Council of North Algona Wilberforce enact the following bylaws. Bylaw 2023-32, a development agreement with Schultz, and bylaw 2022-33 to adopt municipal accessibility plan policies and procedures. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Buckwald, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Comments, questions? Seeing none, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
yes,
Councilor Redfish.
yes.
And yes, that is carried. Thank you. Moving on, are there any matters of urgency? Councilor Burke.
I'd like to apologize to the bylaw officer for my inappropriate comments to a fellow staff member. I did not follow the protocols outlined in council staff relation policy, and I'm truly sorry for any harm that may have caused.
Thank you, Councilor Burke. Are there any notices of motion? Are there any reports? Well, we've done our reports from committee, and that brings us to our recreation committee and our June meeting report. And I have a motion that council accepts the recreation committee report as presented and approves of the listed recommendations. And mover in a second, moved by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Buckwald. Comments or questions?
So if I could just speak to
Yes,
that,
go
I don't know if we want to look at the hub wrap. So our committee on Monday, a couple of weeks ago, got the presentation of the different types of hub wraps. So on the wood hub wrap, it was kind of the trees and the snow, believe it or not, and then it had activities of people doing it. So then we decided we wanted to highlight the maps that were created. So we were given three choices. And we liked the one with the blue turquoise background,
The top one.
the top one, yeah. Just because we thought the maps popped out more and it made it more simplistic. As opposed to the other ones, so. We're bringing that back to council. That's the one the committee chose. Just saying, unless somebody wants to overrule it. That's the one we like.
Comments from council?
I like that one. The white one looks kind of stark.
No, it does, washed out.
Yeah. And the other two, they do look kind of busy with the jump from the trees to the green.
Yeah, then the
Yeah.
maps, we found the maps didn't stand out.
Yeah, I like the top one as well.
Okay, that's what we're gonna do. And then, there were a couple people that have animals and, we brought that up too. And so our suggestion was that if we could put that on our social media accounts, just about fire, and who knows, maybe this year there'll be no fireworks simply because of the fire ban, but I think it's just something that if you're setting up fireworks, you should be cognizant of the fact that it does have other negative effects for some people and for wildlife and stuff like that, so. A resident had sent me that one, which I thought was kind of interesting, because I mean, lots of people do set them off around the lake, right, and you never think about the plastics going into the water. You know? And it does scare people, including ones that maybe have had an issue, maybe. So, just so that they're aware of that. That would be great. The one thing our committee really felt strongly about, so this will be kind of the second year excluding COVID that we don't have a swim program. And it seems the major issue is trying to find qualified swim instructors and lifeguards. So in September, we're gonna try and brainstorm, you know, a way of trying to get somebody, whether we have to perhaps pay for them to get their qualifications or have some kind of commitment where we pay half and they do half. But it's just like, we feel like there's nobody around, and because there's nobody around, we can't run the program. So other people have different ideas, that would be great, so brainstorm in the summertime.
It's hard to find local lifeguards. Again, there's not as much training going on locally.
Mhm.
And especially over the last couple of years, it's obviously been really bad. But it's a problem all across
Mhm.
the province and probably across the country.
Mhm. So perhaps if you know of a young person, you put that bug in their ear and, you know, and the one thing that was suggested, I think we've done it before, you know, they do lifeguarding, let's say so many days, but then we'd also have them employed doing other things the other parts of the days, you know, so they would have a full-time summer job. And I mean, something like lifeguarding is very transferable, so if they did go away, there's usually in a bigger center, there are local pools and they could lifeguard on the weekend or on a certain night and make extra money, but it's just trying to get them going. It seems COVID just kind of put a big roadblock up, and, you know, the older ones, now they've graduated and gone on, but we just don't have any younger ones. So that would be awesome if we can figure out a solution to that problem.
It's too bad we can't, you know, lobby our Mennonite family that has 14 children. It'd be an ongoing loop of swim instructors if they would take the program. They probably have other work commitments. Yeah.
And the last thing we had really never brought up, but it just happened really quick, was Camp Schmitty's offering a summer camp. So then one of the committee members reached out to somebody in DV, and they've gone around to the schools and they would like us to share half of the cost of advertising this in the newspaper. So that's one of the other recommendations.
Any comments, questions? Yes.
There is a swim club in,
No,
yeah. I don't know what.
I think Cameron Montgomery had reached out to them, and there was nothing. See, and the thing is, if they have 10 people, it's easy for them to get like 10 places of work, right?
Yeah.
Now, up by Killaloo, they're running at one of the parks, and they've managed to get some people, so perhaps that's something in September, we'll reach out to them to ask them how they managed to get people for their program, because it is cheaper. And the other thing we're gonna do is pay the out of town fee if families, which capping at $300,000. So if they do find a program, they can apply and then get that. But I mean, it was just much more convenient if you had
Having it right here.
grandchildren up or whatever to have them here or at Golden Lake, because Golden Lake is just from lessons also. But at any rate, it's just something we have to look at.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, Council Burks,
Yes.
Council Buckwalter,
Yes.
Council Robinson,
Yes,
Council Reddish-Onko.
Yes,
Yes, that is carried. Thank you. So our strategic planning and coordination committee meeting will be June the 27th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Our next regular meeting of council will be July 4th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And the meeting following that will be August 15th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And item number 15, we have a motion that council will go into closed session pursuant to section 239, 2B, E, F of the Municipal Act regarding two personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local health employees, two litigation or potential litigation, and one advice subject to solicitor client privilege. And I'm going to move in a second, moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckwalter. Councilor Birch.
Yes.
Councilor Buckwalter.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
yes.
Councilor Reddish-Onko.
yes.
And a yes. That's carried. We will go into closed at 7:47 p.m. And then item 15.1 is the development proposal. So I have a motion that staff proceed as directed in closed session, moved by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Buckwalter. Councilor Burke.
Yeah.
Councilor Buckwalter.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Reddish-Onko.
Yes.
And a yes. Carried, thank you. Item 15.2 is litigation or potential litigation. I have a motion that staff proceed as directed in closed session. Moved by Councilor Buckwalter, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Councilor Burke.
Yes.
Councilor Buckwalter.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Reddish-Onko.
Yes.
And a yes. Carried, thank you. And finally, item 17 is that, bylaw 2022-34, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council for June 2023. You read it first and second time this 20th day of June 2023, and then moving a second, moved by Councilor Reddish-Onko, seconded by Councilor Burke. Councilor Burke.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, finally read it third time in task is 20th day, 2023. Councilor Buckwalter,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Reddish-Onko,
Yes.
yes. It's carried, thank you. Finally, item 18 is adjournment. That this June 20th, 2023 regular meeting of council adjourns at 8:24 p.m. Moved by Councilor Reddish-Onko, seconded by Councilor Robinson, Councilor Burke.
Yes.
Councilor Buckwalter,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Reddish-Onko,
Yes.
and a yes. Carried. Thank you all very much.
Done.